Attention local government leaders, don't miss Fast Track 2025, Victoria's premier councillor leadership forum, happening Friday, May the 2nd. Join us for an intensive day focused on leading with integrity, featuring an exceptional lineup including Melbourne Lord Mayor Nick Rees, Victorian Ombudsman Marlo Barraguareth and IBAC CEO Alison Byrne. Gain valuable insights on conduct, fraud prevention and CEO management while networking with industry peers. Plus, enjoy a special keynote from comedian Anthony Lamo-Learman. Fast Track 2025, equipping you with the tools to serve your community better. Register now at the VLGA website. The Mayor of Whittlesea calls for the resignation of the council's CEO and monitors. A call for patience from the Mayor of Greater Dandenong. Hepburn Shire responds to the leaking of the Rex report. A local government first strategy to tackle anti-semitism. A general manager calls time. An apology from a Gold Coast councillor. Queensland councils sound the alarm over rising insurance costs. And Hobart pressing ahead with a controversial bike lane project. Hello, I'm Chris Eddy. This is the Local Government News Roundup, Australia's most listened to podcast for local government news and interviews, brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, with support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences. It's Wednesday, the 19th of March. And we start today with more on the crisis out of Whittlesea City Council, which moved its March meeting online last night, inviting members of the public to view a live stream of the proceedings. The meeting was the first since Mayor Aidan McClendon was issued with a ban on attending council premises by CEO Craig Lloyd, and a no-confidence motion from the remaining councillors who called on him to resign. A call to action was circulating on social media in the lead-up to the meeting, encouraging members of the public to form an outdoor public gallery outside the chamber. Councillor McClendon and his lawyer spoke to the assembled group, estimated to number around 50 by the Whittlesea leader, and he made this call.
It brings me no joy to say that I will be calling on the local government minister to ask for the CEO and the two monitors to step aside immediately.
Mayor McClendon was somewhat more charitable in his comments about his fellow councillors.
And I do feel for the 10 councillors in there, but unfortunately, they haven't had a good chance. We have not had a chance to be together as 11 elected representatives, to get to know each other. What our vision is for the city, we have not, without the bureaucracy breathing down our neck.
The meeting began streaming at around 6 p.m, at which time the Mayor was still speaking to the group outside the chamber. In the meeting, he was listed as an apology. Outside on the screen, a message was displayed stating that he'd been removed from the meeting by the host. The meeting was chaired by the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Daniela Zinni. Earlier, the councillor group made a statement on social media in support of measures to prioritise safety. It said any decisions made by this group fully comply with relevant laws and regulations and reflect governance best practice. The decision to hold the Whittlesea meeting online without a public gallery follows a similar move from Casey, which held its meeting online last night, with 9 News camped outside showing a group of residents who had answered a call for a silent protest. Last week, Greater Dandenong Council also moved its meeting to an online format. It asked for patience and respect for the community after threats of violence and ethnic divisions led to that decision to hold its meeting online. Community tensions surrounding the informal Afghan bazaar name of the Thomas Street precinct have been acknowledged, and the council has requested external resources for an independent consultation process to find a constructive resolution. The council noted that there's never been a formal consultation or naming process for the precinct, which has only been referred to as the Afghan Bazaar in marketing and promotional materials. It expects to provide further details soon on a community development initiative to facilitate dialogue between people of all ethnic backgrounds in Afghanistan living in the city of Greater Dandenong. The Bendigo News has reported on a tense Greater Bendigo Council meeting where a resident was ejected after demanding answers about the city's escalating youth crime crisis. Resident Kayleen O'Brien confronted Mayor Andrea Metcalfe during public question time, challenging the council's response to a dramatic surge in criminal activity. Statistics reveal a concerning 13.3% increase in criminal incidents over the past year, with home invasions skyrocketing by 89%. The council maintains that law enforcement falls outside its jurisdiction, directing residents to contact emergency services if they feel unsafe. Meanwhile, council officials report ongoing collaboration with Victoria Police to address antisocial behaviour in the city centre. Hepburn Shire Council has responded to the leaking of a draft 2022 report into a failed community development project in Daylesford. The report details the local government inspectorate's investigations into the Hepburn Hub at the Rex project, which aimed to transform Daylesford's historic Rex Theatre into a library and council offices. The project resulted in a financial loss of $5.65 million for ratepayers, including the initial $6.3 million purchase price in 2016, additional expenditure of over $3 million and proceeds from the sale of $3.74 million. The council said it's not familiar with the version of the report that is circulating and cannot comment on its origins or accuracy. The council had seen an earlier draft in 2021, but was under a legal obligation not to reference receipt of that report or disclose its contents. Mayor Don Henderson acknowledged community frustration and anger in relation to the release of the report and its contents, but said attacks and threats are inappropriate and would not be tolerated. He said there'd been an increase in poor behaviour towards staff and councillors over recent weeks. CEO Bradley Thomas said the organisation had put in place countless improvements to ensure the failings identified in the report don't occur again. A 14-page spreadsheet of the inspectorate recommendations and the council's actions in response has been published alongside this week's statement. With regard to the leaked report, the council said the way it's been made public is concerning, and it's written to the Local Government Inspectorate to request a thorough review of the situation. A couple of other news stories of interest this week. At Hume City Council, the police have been called in to investigate an alleged unauthorised recording of a closed council meeting that follows the matter being raised at the council's December meeting by councillor Carly Moore. The recording is understood to have been shared on social media around the time of last year's council elections. Sunbury Life reported this week that council CEO Sheena Frost has now written to Victoria Police, raising concerns that the recording and its circulation may be illegal and requesting the allegation be investigated to support council integrity and privacy rights. And the state government has appointed Renee Ekbom KC to lead an inquiry into the cause of the Macrae landslide in Mornington Peninsula Shire. Multiple homes were evacuated after the landslide in January and a council worker was hospitalised. Local Government Minister Nick Stakos said too many questions remain unanswered and the Board of Inquiry has been established to get to the bottom of what happened. The inquiry will look into the cause as well as the adequacy of measures taken to mitigate the risks following other landslides in Macrae. More news in brief. The Bridge Mall redevelopment in Ballarat has officially opened with a $23.3 million transformation, including new landscaping, shared zones and improved connectivity. The opening has been marked by a community celebration featuring vintage cars and carnival festivities. Central Goldfields Shire has approved a $3 million funding application and $1.5 million co-contribution for the staged reopening of the Maryborough Olympic Outdoor Pool Complex. Mildura Council and Greening Mildura are hosting their second annual Nature Strip Showdown competition, offering $500 prizes across 3 categories for residents with outstanding nature strips. And West Wimmera Shire has welcomed a potential $500,000 funding commitment from federal member Anne Webster for a new splash park at Conniva, contingent on a coalition election victory. This is the Local Government News Roundup for Wednesday the 19th of March. Support for the podcast comes from Symphony 3. If you're a local council, you know how challenging it can be to manage data across all your different systems. That's where Symphony 3 comes in. They've developed Smart Glue, a platform that integrates over 55 council systems, automating data flow without the need for manual work. It turns confusion into simplicity. With Smart Glue, councils save time, reduce errors and empower staff to focus on what really matters. Their clients see a real difference, up to a 20% boost in productivity, with savings of over $30,000 per integration every year. Symphony 3 helps councils work smarter, faster and more efficiently, all while better supporting the communities they serve. Simple, connected customer experiences. Now for today's New South Wales report, and Sydney's Waverley Council was last night set to become the first local government in Australia to adopt a strategy to combat anti-Semitism. Mayor Will Namesh said the initiative was in response to a concerning 300% spike in anti-Semitic incidents over the past year, according to a report from J-Wire. The comprehensive strategy includes enhanced security measures, community education programs and partnerships with organisations like the Sydney Jewish Museum. Waverley is home to over 11,000 Jewish residents, and the Mayor hopes the blueprint will inspire similar actions by councils nationwide. The Daily Telegraph has reported on a development approval blitz at North Sydney Council, which is facing potential loss of planning powers due to slow housing approval rates. The council averages 154 days compared to the New South Wales Government's target of 115 days, and has been warned, along with 5 other New South Wales councils, to improve their assessment process or face consequences. While the council is implementing measures like approval blitzes and additional contractors, it argues that factors such as complex planning regulations, construction sector challenges and the involvement of other planning authorities contribute to the delays. Greater Hepburn Shire Council is set to finally take a position on the Albury-Wodonga Hospital issue, with councillors being asked to choose between supporting either the redevelopment of the existing Albury Hospital or backing a new greenfield site in either city. The Border Mail reported that the issue is on the council's agenda for its meeting today, and its decision will carry significance as it's the only local government area bordering the Twin Cities that has not yet supported the development of a new hospital. Greater Hepburn has previously abstained from votes and rallies related to the matter. Eurobodalla Council General Manager Warwick Wynne has announced his resignation effective this Friday after serving since November 2022. Director of Finance and Corporate Services Stephanie Speedy will serve as Acting General Manager until an interim replacement is found, while the search for a permanent General Manager begins. Mr Wynne previously held General Manager positions at Penrith and North Sydney in New South Wales and was CEO at Manningham in Victoria, and says he now plans to spend quality time with the grandkids and travel the world. On to Queensland, and Gold Coast Councillor Brooke Patterson has issued a brief public apology at a council meeting after an investigation found she'd acted aggressively towards council staff and attempted to influence a work experience selection process. The Gold Coast Bulletin reported that at least one councillor was concerned about an apparent lack of remorse from Councillor Patterson, but the council opted against removing her from her position as governance chairwoman. Queensland councils are sounding the alarm over soaring insurance costs in disaster-prone communities. LGAQ President Matt Burnett says some residents are facing premium increases of up to 500%, putting severe pressure on households during a cost of living crisis. LGAQ is calling for all federal election candidates to commit to better protection for local communities and pushing for reforms including simplified disaster recovery processes and an extension of voluntary home buyback schemes. In Townsville, Acting Mayor Anne-Marie Graney has joined a push for local government's share of federal tax revenue to be doubled from 0.5% to 1%. She's highlighting the current rate hasn't changed since the Whitlam era of the 1970s. But federal MP Philip Thompson is not impressed, calling the move a disappointing political ploy, according to the Townsville Bulletin. He's expressed concerns about the council's financial management. And Townsville is extending its security trial that involves 2 community safety officers conducting foot patrols of known hotspots in the city centre. Councillor Graney said the program had shown positive results in reducing antisocial behaviour through a relationship-building approach. Noosa Council employees are reportedly planning strike action today due to dissatisfaction with the council's current wage offer. Noosa Today reported that Services Union members will hold a stop work meeting at 9 a.m. outside Tewantin Council chambers. Lead organiser Tom Rivers said strike action is a last resort aimed at securing fair compensation and preventing workplace attrition. And Cassowary Coast Regional Council has signed a no-cost MOU with Silica Resources Australia to boost regional economic growth and create approximately 180 construction jobs. The project will focus on extracting and processing high-purity silica sand for use in green energy and technological innovations. Briefly, in other council news, Adelaide Lord Mayor Dr Jane Lomax-Smith has been appointed as patron of the Australian Dental Foundation, where she'll advocate for accessible dental care and support various foundation initiatives. Western Downs Regional Council has announced over $1 million in upgrades for 5 aquatic facilities, with works to be carried out during autumn and winter 2025. And Central Coast Council has announced the early removal of shark nets from 11 patrolled beaches on the 31st of March, 1 month earlier than usual, as part of the New South Wales Government's updated shark management program to protect marine life during turtle migration. For more details on those stories and others, you'll find the story links in our show notes. To Tasmania next. Hobart City Council plans to proceed with installing bike lanes on Collins Street next Monday, despite opposition from local businesses and a scheduled public meeting on the issue the following day. That's according to a report from Pulse Tasmania. The controversial project will remove around 49 parking spaces to create dedicated cycling lanes on both sides of the street, with business owners demanding a delay until after the meeting. A recent Local Government Association of Tasmania survey has found that nearly 80% of Tasmanian councillors have experienced abuse, bullying or intimidation from community members in the past 2 years. LGAT President Mick Tucker told Government News the behaviour is most commonly occurring on social media but also in public places. He said local government's greatest strength, being closest to communities, also makes councillors more vulnerable to negative behaviour. LGAT is launching a community awareness campaign this month to promote respectful communication and stand against abuse. Serious concerns have been raised about a new behaviour standards framework in South Australian local government. According to a report from The Messenger, some female councillors claim it's being weaponised to silence and harass women. Adelaide Councillor Mary Kouros reports spending over $10,000 in legal fees dealing with complaints under the confidential process, while Adelaide Hills Councillor Louise Pascal has been forced to take stress leave due to her experiences with the system. The Australian Local Government Women's Association reports female representation on councils remains below 40%, with some councillors warning the hostile environment could deter more women from entering local politics. MP Connie Benaros is calling for an independent inquiry into harassment in the sector. Berry-Barmera Council will honour former councillor Rhonda Centofanti, who passed away in December 2023, by installing memorial plaques on 2 park benches near the Berry Riverfront and the Anzac Centenary Cross Memorial in Barmera. Following her passing, the council has continued with 7 councillors due to policy and legislative constraints that prevent holding a supplementary election to fill the vacancy. And in Western Australia, Hannah Beazley will retain the local government portfolio in the new Western Australian government. Premier Roger Cook announced the new ministry portfolios yesterday. Ms Beazley will also serve as Minister for Disability Services, Volunteering and Youth. John Carey, a previous local government minister, retains the planning portfolio. Uncertainty continues at the Shire of Derby West Kimberley as it awaits the appointment of a commissioner following a number of councillor resignations that have left the council without a quorum and unable to make major decisions. CEO Tamara Clarkson said this week that the administration is working with state government officials to ensure continuity of governance and service delivery. Major decisions are temporarily on hold. The appointment of a commissioner is pending the swearing in of the new government ministry. The city of Albany was impacted by a heavy rainfall and flooding event last week, which caused the closure of a number of council facilities, including its library, visitor centre, art centre and town hall. The Albany Library was most severely affected and remained closed until yesterday after an intense clean-up effort. And an advocacy success for the City of Melville and the local community. They've successfully achieved a reduced speed limit on Farrington Road as part of ongoing road safety initiatives. The reduction from 70 to 60 kilometres per hour between Bibra Drive and Casserly Drive follows several previous safety improvements, including the installation of speed platforms and speed cushions. The city is also working towards securing a pedestrian crossing outside Leeming Forum. Now to our global roundup. Nottingham City Council in the UK experienced a severe power outage last week that damaged files and caused widespread disruption to their IT systems and phone lines. The BBC reported the failure is being attributed to an unprecedented electrical safety circuit issue in their high-voltage switchgear. Despite power being restored and some systems coming back online by Monday, the council continues to work on repairs and testing, with staff adapting quickly to maintain essential services for vulnerable people. Also from BBC News, speculation that government intervention is looming for Spelthorne Borough Council, which has accumulated debts of over £1 billion, more than 60 times its service spending. It's looking likely that commissioners will be appointed due to serious concerns about its governance and financial management. The Local Government Minister Jim McMahon has proposed the intervention to strengthen improvement work at the council, while Council Leader Joanne Sexton has agreed to work in partnership with the government to address the issues. The council has until the 28th of March to respond to the minister. Birmingham City Council is refusing to make pay concessions to striking bin workers, with Council Leader John Cotton arguing it could reopen historic equal pay issues that previously contributed to the council's bankruptcy. BBC News reported the ongoing dispute has led to an indefinite strike by 400 bin workers, causing overflowing bins and increased fly tipping. And Brighton and Hove City Council is investigating claims that a local company offered takeaway vouchers to tenants in exchange for positive comments on their planning application. It's to convert a family home into a 5-bedroom shared house. The proposal has drawn attention from a local MP who's asked for the matter to be investigated, according to BrightonandHove.com. Across to the US, the City Council in Denver, Colorado has this week approved a cash infusion of $1.5 million for downtown activation activities. The Denver Gazette reported that the money will be used for events and permanent installations to draw crowds and for increased safety measures. The decision was not unanimous, however, with some councillors concerned about the additional spend in the current budget environment. It ultimately passed by 10 votes to 3. In Austin, Texas, the city has launched Get Hired in Austin, a recruitment campaign targeting federal government workers affected by workforce changes. The campaign is focused on filling high vacancy and hard-to-fill positions in areas like engineering, IT and healthcare. It has the support of the city manager and the mayor, who are promoting the opportunity for public servants to continue making a difference at the municipal level. In Canada, councillors of the city of Sault Ste. Marie are considering amendments to the council's procedure bylaw, including a proposed ban on signs in the council chamber. The proposed changes, recommended by a procedure bylaw review task force, also include modifications to meeting procedures, conflict of interest handling and requirements for council member attendance. Council meeting attendees would also be prohibited from obstructing entry points to the council chamber, according to SOO Today. The city of Prince George in British Columbia is promoting a buy local campaign to its residents in the midst of an evolving US tariff situation. The city has launched a survey to assess how local businesses will be impacted and what support is needed. Mayor Simon Hughes said the city is exploring possible changes within its procurement processes, given it's bound by some trade agreements that do not permit preferential treatment of local suppliers above certain thresholds. And from New Zealand, a heated confrontation at Pororua City Council has led to the ejection of Wellington City Council iwi representative Liz Kelly during a meeting on Thursday. Ms Kelly was attending in her capacity as Chief Executive of the Pororua Whānau Centre and was asked to leave after disrupting proceedings and making what officials described as angry and disrespectful remarks toward Mayor Anita Baker. The Post reported on the incident, which occurred during discussions about Wellington Water's performance, and it's prompted formal complaints, while Kelly maintains she simply walked out after questioning procedural matters. Council Chief Executive Wendy Walker confirmed staff had to intervene to prevent any direct confrontation with the Mayor. The matter is now under review, and Wellington Mayor Tory Fano has pledged to address the incident with Ms Kelly directly. And there you have the latest from the Local Government News Roundup. I hope you're feeling a little more informed from this edition for Wednesday the 19th of March, episode number 441. Your comments, feedback and story tips can be sent to lgweeklynews@gmail.com. More information on the episode, including story links, can be found at lgnewsroundup.com. My thanks to the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, and Symphony 3, Simple Connected Customer Experiences, for their support for the podcast. And I'm grateful to the many of you who help make the podcast possible by supporting us through a monthly subscription. Support starts at $3 per month, less than $5 Australian, and you can cancel your subscription at any time. Details on the website or in your podcast player. The Local Government News Roundup is recorded in the city of Greater Geelong, Victoria, on the land of the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation. Until next time, thanks for listening, and bye for now. I'm thrilled to welcome Symphony 3 to the Local Government News Roundup family. If you're a local council, you know how challenging it can be to manage data across all your different systems. That's where Symphony 3 comes in. They've developed Smart Glue, a platform that integrates over 55 council systems, automating data flow without the need for manual work. It turns confusion into simplicity. With Smart Glue, councils save time, reduce errors and empower staff to focus on what really matters. Their clients see a real difference, up to 20% boost in productivity, with savings of over $30,000 per integration every year. Symphony 3 helps councils work smarter, faster and more efficiently, all while better supporting the communities they serve.